There comes a moment when you stop chasing her. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally became tired of proving your worth. And strangely, that may be the exact moment she begins to wonder where you went. No more messages, no more checking if she's online, no more trying to make her notice you. At first, she may feel relieved. She may even believe that she has finally gotten what she wanted, space. But then something unexpected happens. Silence becomes louder than your words ever were. She starts noticing your absence. She remembers the little things she once took for granted. She begins asking herself why you stopped and whether she made a mistake by letting you go. Hello everyone, welcome to the Magnetic Masculinity channel. In this video, we'll uncover the psychology behind what happens when you stop chasing someone and why your absence can sometimes awaken feelings your presence never could. But the final truth may surprise you. Now, let's get started. Part 1. When your presence becomes your absence. There is something powerful about absence. When you are always there, people can become accustomed to you without realizing your value. Your messages become ordinary. Your attention becomes expected. Your presence becomes part of their routine. And sometimes people don't understand what they had until it is no longer available. When you stop chasing her, you are not necessarily making her miss you immediately. What you are doing is removing the constant reminder of your presence. She no longer wakes up to your message. She no longer sees your name waiting for a reply. She no longer feels certain that no matter how distant she becomes, you will still be there. And that certainty begins to disappear. At first, she may not care, but slowly, questions begin to appear. Why did he stop? Did he finally move on? Was he really that serious about me? And perhaps the most uncomfortable question of all, did I lose someone who genuinely cared about me? This is where silence becomes powerful. Not because silence is a manipulation, but because silence gives people something constant attention never could. Space to feel the weight of your absence. And sometimes it is only when you stop knocking on someone's door that they finally realize how often you were standing outside it. Part 2. When curiosity starts to become memory. The strange thing about human nature is that we often notice something only after it stops happening. You don't realize how familiar a voice has become until the room becomes quiet. You don't realize how comforting someone's presence was until you can no longer reach them. And that is what may begin happening when you stop chasing her. At first, she might not think about you at all. Life continues. She stays busy. She talks to friends. She scrolls through her phone. She convinces herself that nothing has changed. But then, somewhere between the ordinary moments of her day, your absence quietly appears. She sees something that reminds her of you. She hears a song you once shared. She passes a place where you used to talk. And suddenly, a memory she thought was buried comes back without permission. This is where curiosity begins. She may wonder whether you are still thinking about her. She may wonder if someone else has entered your life. She may even check your social media, not because she has decided to come back, but because she wants to understand what happened to the person who once gave her so much attention. And here is the part most people misunderstand. It isn't your silence itself that creates longing. It is the contrast. Yesterday you were always there. Today you are not. Yesterday she knew she could have your attention whenever she wanted. Today she doesn't know anymore. And uncertainty has a strange way of making the mind revisit what it once considered certain. She begins remembering not only who you were, but how you made her feel. The conversations, the patience, the little moments, the way you cared when nobody else noticed. And slowly, something changes. She is no longer simply remembering you. She is beginning to question the decision she made when she assumed you would always be there. But there is an even deeper psychological shift waiting to happen. Because when your attention disappears, she may finally be forced to confront a question she avoided while you were chasing her. Did I actually want him gone? Or did I simply enjoy knowing that he would never leave? And that question can be far more painful than your silence. Before we go any further, I want you to pause for a moment. Think about the person you have been chasing. Maybe you kept sending messages. Maybe you kept trying to explain yourself. Maybe you kept giving more and more, hoping that one day they would finally realize your value. But perhaps the lesson was never about making someone miss you. Perhaps it was about learning to stop abandoning yourself just to keep someone else. If this message speaks to something you are going through right now, take a moment and subscribe to the channel. And in the comments, write just one word: enough. Not because you stopped loving someone, but because you finally decided that your love should not require you to lose yourself. Stay until the end of this video, because what happens after you stop chasing is not simply about whether she comes back. It is about what happens to you when you finally stop running after someone who was never running toward you. Part 3. When she realizes you are really letting go. There is a difference between being silent and truly letting go. Silence can be an act, but letting go is a transformation, and people can feel the difference. When you first stop chasing her, part of you may still be waiting for her message, waiting for her to notice, waiting for her to wonder where you are. And deep down, you may still be measuring every day by whether she comes back. But eventually something begins to change. You stop checking your phone every few minutes. You stop wondering who she is talking to. You stop creating imaginary conversations in your head. You stop asking yourself what you could have done differently. And slowly, you begin living again. This is the moment your absence becomes real, because she can sense when you are no longer standing at the same emotional distance, waiting for her decision. Perhaps she notices that you are quieter. Perhaps she sees that you are no longer trying to impress her. Perhaps she realizes that your life is moving forward without asking for her permission. And that can create a strange feeling. But when you genuinely move forward, that certainty disappears. She may begin to wonder, is he finally over me? Does he still care? Why doesn't he try anymore? And sometimes those questions arrive too late, because the person who once spent all his energy trying to be chosen has finally learned something far more valuable. He does not need to be chosen by someone who cannot recognize his value. And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Because when you stop trying to make her love you, you finally become free from needing her love to feel worthy. Maybe she comes back. Maybe she doesn't. But either way, something has changed forever. You are no longer chasing her. You are choosing yourself. And ironically, that may be the first time she truly sees the man she had been taking for granted. Part 4. When regret finally knocks. Regret rarely arrives when someone leaves. It usually arrives later. It comes quietly in the middle of an ordinary night when there is no one around to distract you from your thoughts. She may remember the way you used to ask if she was okay, the way you listened to stories she thought nobody cared about, the way you stayed when things became difficult. And suddenly the things that once felt ordinary begin to feel rare. Because when you were there, she had access to you. Your attention was available. Your affection was available. Your patience was available. She could take her time deciding what you meant to her. But now, there is no guarantee. And that uncertainty can make the past look very different. She may scroll through old conversations, read a message she never answered properly, look at an old photograph, or simply lie awake and wonder how someone who once cared so deeply could become so quiet. And perhaps she will ask herself the question she was afraid to ask before. What if he really is gone this time? That question can hurt, because losing someone is not always about losing their physical presence. Sometimes you lose the certainty that they will always be emotionally available to you, and that is when regret begins to grow. But here is the truth you need to understand. You should never walk away simply to make someone regret losing you. Because if your entire purpose is to make her miss you, then you are still chasing her, just from a distance. Real strength is different. Real strength is when you walk away because staying was costing you your peace. You stop asking, will she come back? And start asking, do I even want the version of her who only realized my value after I left? That question changes everything. Because sometimes the greatest victory is not hearing her say, I miss you. Sometimes the greatest victory is reaching the point where those words no longer control your happiness. And if she does come back, you no longer meet her as the man who was desperately waiting. You meet her as the man who learned how to live without her. And that man has standards, That man has boundaries. That man understands that love is not supposed to feel like begging for a place in someone's life. Because once you truly understand your own worth, you stop accepting temporary attention in exchange for permanent emotional pain. Part 5. The moment you stop needing her to come back. And now we arrive at the part nobody talks about. Because the real transformation does not happen when she misses you. It happens when you no longer need her to. At the beginning, you may have stopped chasing her because you hoped she would notice. You hoped the silence would make her curious. You hoped she would come back. But somewhere along the way, something unexpected happens. You start becoming comfortable with your own company. You wake up without checking your phone. You go through your day without wondering what she is doing. You stop replaying old conversations, searching for the moment when everything went wrong. And one morning, perhaps without even realizing it, you feel peace. Not because she came back, but because you finally came back to yourself. That is when you understand the deepest lesson. You were never supposed to spend your life convincing someone to love you. You were never supposed to compete for someone's attention, and you were never supposed to destroy your dignity just to keep a relationship alive. Love should be chosen freely, not begged for, not negotiated, not chased endlessly. So if she remembers you after you walk away, let her remember. If she wonders where you went, let her wonder. If she regrets losing you, that is her journey. Your journey is different. Your journey is to become the man who no longer needs another person's attention to know that he is valuable. Because the most powerful version of you is not the one who makes her afraid of losing you. It is the one who is no longer afraid to lose anyone. And perhaps one day she may return. She may look at you and realize that the person she once took for granted has changed. But if that day comes, don't ask yourself, does she finally want me? Ask something much deeper. Does this person deserve access to the man I have become? Because when you finally learn to choose yourself, you stop seeing her absence as a loss. You start seeing it as the moment your life finally began. And maybe that is the real meaning behind stopping the chase. You weren't walking away from love. You were walking away from the version of yourself that believed love had to be earned through suffering. You were not losing her. You were finding yourself. And sometimes, that is the ending you were secretly looking for all along. Conclusion. Sometimes the person you are desperately trying not to lose is the very person who is teaching you how to let go. When you stop chasing, you don't automatically make someone miss you. What changes first is you. You become quieter, stronger, more aware of your worth. And eventually you understand that real love should never require you to beg for attention or sacrifice your dignity. If she comes back, let her come back because she truly chooses you, not because your absence forced her to. And if she never does, remember this. You did not lose the person meant for you. You simply stopped losing yourself, trying to keep someone who wasn't. The goal is to become so secure in who you are that you no longer need anyone to regret losing you. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Your support means more than you know. It gives us the motivation to keep creating videos that help you become stronger, wiser, and more at peace with yourself. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Until the end of the video, see you in the next videos.